Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at an all-new controller and phone clip from one of my favorite controller manufacturers, 8BitDo. Now you might notice something a little different about the packaging on these, and that's because it's branded with Xbox logos. This is actually releasing just in time for the official release of Xbox game streaming, previously known as Project Xcloud. So what they've released here is an SN30 Pro, Xbox branded. It's a Bluetooth controller that'll connect to your Android device. And they also have a dual articulating clip for the Xbox One and or the Xbox Elite controller. But mainly in this video, we're going to be taking a look at this new Xbox branded SN30 Pro. It does come with the same phone clip. It's a dual articulating clip so you can get comfortable in any position. And what this allows you to do is connect to your Android device over Bluetooth and play your favorite games, be it cloud gaming, emulation, or native Android games. So let's go ahead and get this out of the box and take a look at the new SN30 Pro for Xbox Cloud Gaming. So obviously we're going to get the Xbox branded SN30 Pro controller, and we also get this phone clip here. It has a spring-loaded mechanism at the top to allow you to hold your Android device, and we have a dual articulating arm here that can be locked down with the lock nuts on the side. Now, I've always been a big fan of the SN30 Pro, and I'm really digging this black style here with the Xbox logo. We have the colorized lettered buttons here, dual analog sticks, 4 triggers, and we have that Xbox button right in the middle. So the official name that I'm seeing online for this variant of the SN30 Pro is the SN30 Pro for Xbox Cloud Gaming on Android. When I first saw this controller, I thought it was basically a recoloration of the original SN30 Pro, but I was looking a little deeper into it, and they have made some major changes here. And I'd say the biggest change between the original and this one here are the triggers. These are no longer just digital, they're actually analog triggers. You can swap between digital or analog, and this controller here is now compatible with their Ultimate software, so everything is customizable. From the triggers, analog sticks, to the buttons. If you want to swap these out for different actions, you can do that in the Ultimate software. This does have a USB Type-C connector on the top here for charging up the internal battery, or you can connect this to a PC over USB or Bluetooth. It's really up to you. Now, if we take a look at this new one versus the original SN30 Pro, they have rearranged the start and select buttons to make them look like the Xbox buttons, and we also have that big Xbox button in the middle. But like I mentioned, the major changes here are the triggers being analog instead of just strictly digital. I'm just going to go ahead and pair this up with my Android device. By the way, I'm using the Poco F2. To turn the controller on, we're going to hold the Xbox button for about 3 seconds. We'll get a flashing LED. Now we want to put it in pairing mode. On the very top, there's a pairing mode button. Press that for about 3 seconds. The LED on the controller is going to start to rapidly flash. Now we can move over to our Android device, go to Bluetooth. We're going to scan for devices, and it shows right up as the SN30 Pro. It's now connected to my Android device, and it's connected over X input, so you can control the full Android operating system with this. And since it's connecting to our Android device over X input, it'll work with native Android games as long as they support controllers or emulators that you download from Google Play or even sideload them. As long as the app supports a controller, this will work with it. So mounting up your phone to the SN30 Pro with the clip is super easy. This snaps right on. And now that it's secured to the SN30 Pro, we can do some adjustment to the clip itself. We have 2 points of articulation, so getting this in the correct location that you'd like may take a little bit of adjustment, but there's tons of different locations that we can put this in. And in the end, it really comes down to user preference and the way you're sitting, because if you're sitting straight up, like let's say at a desk, you're going to want that screen facing you. But if you're laid back in a recliner or on the couch, you may have to adjust it a little differently to fit your play style. And the way I have it set up right now is perfectly balanced. So if I want to put this phone in here, which is a pretty heavy phone, I can actually set the whole controller down on the desk and it's going to balance itself. But like I said, it really comes down to user preference, how you want this device to feel, and the angle you're sitting at. But luckily we have that dual articulating clip, and it makes it super easy to adjust it for any kind of play style. Alright, so I've got this adjusted to my liking. I'm in the Xcloud app. I'm going to go ahead and start up Forza Horizon 4 here. Been playing it a lot lately. It's going to load it up and start the game, and then we'll get right into some gameplay. So yeah, I mean, I don't notice any more latency than I usually get out of Xcloud, and you will experience some because we are cloud gaming, but overall, I mean, even playing a racing game, it's perfectly fine with a controller like this. Testing out a fighting game. Now, I'm not a big fan of fighting games over cloud streaming because there is latency there, and if you're playing online, you're probably going to get whooped up on just because you have some latency. But the controller itself isn't introducing any more than I normally get out of a wired connection. Moving over to some native Android games, like I mentioned, it's running in X input mode, so as long as the game supports a controller, or officially supports a controller, this is going to work with it. This is Real Racing 3. I didn't have to do any setup whatsoever, it's just working right out of the box. And finally, moving over to some emulation with Dreamcast using the Redream emulator. Again, just like Real Racing 3, I didn't have to do any setup, it just detected the controller and all my buttons are working. Now I'm sure that there are some emulators that you will have to do a bit of setup with, but this one isn't one of them. I was like testing this just to make sure I can pull off these special moves, and it's working fine. Alright, so here's the deal. Love the SN30 Pro, always have, always will. They got an amazing phone clip here. This does work well with a lot of larger devices, but with a heavy device in this thing, it does get a bit awkward to hold and uncomfortable after a while because we don't have any meat on the front for our palms to rest on, like an Xbox controller. Now the SN30 Pro does work out great for short bursts. If you want to do 10 minutes to 30 minutes gaming on an Android device, totally fine. But when you hit that hour mark, and you have a heavy device strapped into this thing, it does get a bit awkward because we don't have anything to rest our palms on. And that's where the new Xbox One clip that they've released comes in. Now this actually works with the Xbox One S controller or the Elite 2 controller, which I have here. It's the same clip that we're using on the SN30 Pro, and the clip works with a controller that you might already have in your possession that will connect to your Android device, an Xbox One S controller. As long as that Xbox One controller has Bluetooth built in, it will connect to an Android device, be it a tablet or an Android phone. It comes with two controller clips here. One's for the regular Xbox One S controller, the one with Bluetooth built in, and the other one is for the Elite 2. I have not tested it on the Elite 1, but I know for a fact that it works on the Elite 2, and I've actually been looking for a good clip for this controller. So you can just swap it out real quick, and it'll clip right on the controller. And when the clip is on the controller, we still have access to our USB port, whether you're using an Elite controller or a regular Xbox controller. And we also have access to our sync button. And even if this did work with an Elite 1 controller, it wouldn't do Android any good because that didn't have Bluetooth built in. So I'm going to go ahead and get this adjusted to my liking. Then I'll pair the controller up with my Android device. And once we're set up, we can play games just like we were with the SN30 Pro that you saw. Native Android games that support controllers, cloud gaming using Stadia, GeForce Now, or Xcloud, and even emulators. And the good thing about using a real Xbox controller with your Android device is it will work with certain games that actually require an Xbox controller, like Call of Duty Mobile. So in the end, I'm a big fan of the SN30 Pro, and it's no different with this Xbox version. Like I mentioned, it does get a bit awkward to hold after a long time of gaming with a heavy phone, but if you're looking for something compact and you're not going to be playing for more than an hour at a time, then I think the SN30 Pro Xbox Edition is definitely worth it. And it's a great choice for cloud gaming, emulation, and native Android gaming. But you might already have an Xbox controller laying around that's perfectly capable of doing the same thing that the SN30 Pro is, especially with this 8BitDo clip. So in the end, it's really up to you, but we do have two awesome choices here. Whether you just want to get a clip for the Xbox controller you already own, or you really like the look of this SN30 Pro and you want something a little more compact. But that's pretty much it for this video. Really appreciate you watching. If you're interested in picking either one of these up, I will leave a link in the description. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And like always, thanks for watching.